That's how we all feel watching this. Howdy, y'all. I'm Adam, the Renaissance Nerd, coming to you with Halo Episode 5 review. I'm both be upfront with you guys today. I'm not at my best today, but I'm still going to get this done because those of you who come by here, you expect it on day. So, you get it today. Anywho, this episode 39 minutes long in a few seconds. 20 minutes cut off their regular hour of horrible dialogue, horrible acting, and pathetic story. What are we going to get today? What we get today is about 5 minutes total of Quan still being an insufferable bitch. Thankfully, it's only a few minutes, but what minutes there are, it hurts your brain. We get a mixed bag of people being emotional with each other and talking about their feelings and how they feel and what they want to feel and how upset they are with other people and their reactions. And then you get a 9-10 minute battle at the end of the episode filled with horrible CGI and just not into it at all. It's just, you're not pulled in. You're not rooting for anybody. You're kind of hoping the Covenant wins, so maybe we'll get an early release from this terrible, terrible show. But that's what we get. We're going to follow along the same path we've been doing because it's kind of hard just to mow through the episode because of the horrible editing of the show, the way they splice together the different plots. As I talked about last week, good shows, you always get your A plot, your B plot. This one divides you to an A, a B, a C, and a D, and they're all jumbled together with no sense of time. Just to remind you, what's going on Madrigal with Quan and Soren, it's not the same period of time of what's going on with everybody else. You have to understand that. That's happening maybe over a few hours, but instead it's everything else, days have passed everywhere else. So it's mind-numbingly bad, but we're going to get into this, and I'm going to do my best to breeze through this and spare both myself and you from a prolonged exposure to this disastrous abomination. So without further ado, let's begin dissecting this mess. All right, I'm going to try and be real brief with this because her appearance in this is brief, but it's so frustratingly bad. Quan continues to be the worst character in this show. We start off with the bike that Soren stole and they were on when they were riding off into the desert. It broke down. Soren can't fix it. And immediately she starts basically talking down to him again, continuing her track record of talking down to him. And rightfully so. Soren continues to now be maybe the best character in this show because he actually says what we're thinking about this horrible creature that is Quan. He says, I'm sorry, your little fantasy about being a rebel hero, it's done. I own you now. You're going to pay off the debt you owe me. You got my ship destroyed. You now owe me payment for traveling out here. You are my indentured servant. I'm going to cuff you to this bike, and you're gonna work it off as a pirate until you don't owe me anything. And then he walks off to go find a new piece of transportation, and she basically starts to throw a tantrum. You saw it in the opening clip to the video. Quan basically throws a tantrum, like, I need to get out of this. And here's just how bad they've produced this show and this character. If this were a character we actually cared about, we're supposed to be feeling for her that nothing's gone her way now. And now she's been chained to a motorcycle and she's going to become an indentured servant to a pirate. We should feel bad for her. No, I was going like this. Yeah. Oh, right. You bitch, you deserve this. But unfortunately, Quan breaks free. And when Soren eventually returns, you saw it there. She was hiding in the dirt. And she gets the better of him. 16-year-old, uber little bitch boss girl in training whammon gets the better of what is essentially a trained Spartan. Well, not a fully trained Spartan, but still a Spartan who then learned more about being a pirate off in the galaxy and learned probably other traits and skills to go with being a pirate and a warrior in that sense. She gets the better of him. That's Quan, everybody. She's smarter and better than everybody. Now, I admit, last week I said they were probably going to ride off in the desert in search of the monks. Well, it looks like I'm going to be delayed in that for a week because you can see now she's going to bully him into still doing that. So that's where we're going to go next week. I predict that's what we're going next week. I still think it's going to happen. But there you go. That's Quan, everybody. Insufferable bitch. Girl boss in training. I'm right, you're wrong. I'm so righteous. And you're supposed, and I'm gonna throw a tantrum. Oh my god, I hate this character. I hate her. I see her and I want to throw something in the screen. But this is a $260 monitor. I'm not gonna break it. I'm not gonna break my monitor. Not Gary throwing an Andrew Garfield head. So this is she's terrible. And they failed completely in trying to endear her to us. Because when you see her suffering, you're cheering for her suffering because she deserves every bit of it. All right, that's it. We're done with Quan.
I wonder if all that gun grease in your hair didn't seep down into your brain, asking me dumbass questions like that.
I love that line. Whether the writers intended it or not, it is telling the truth about Kai, about, frankly, this whole entire show. The show is one dumbass question, one dumbass scene after another. Well, let's talk about Kai real quick as she gets continually more screen time as she's now discovering her emotions because her pill has been removed. We open with her staring lovingly down at Miranda. And I still think that's going to happen. I'm still putting it on the table. That's going to happen before the season's over. They still loving each other, and Miranda, they have discussion about this and that. I mean, it's really pointless stuff. It's more Bechdel test crap. Let's talk about something that doesn't involve men. Yeah. And she basically then is told to go get ready for getting the artifact off the planet, and it's all just pointless. It really is. Because we spend her entire subplot of this episode is her asking everybody, why do you feel? Aren't you happy to feel? I'm so glad I feel. Why aren't you feeling the way I feel? Don't you wonder why you don't feel the way I feel? I feel. That's her entire plot for the episode, to the point where at one point then there are consequences during the battle at the end of the episode. But prior to that, they have to get it in there where she has to speak down to John. Again, he doesn't get to be called Master Chief. She has to speak down to John about how come he can have his pill out, but she can't. Why is she being taken off active duty? And then it becomes plainly clear in the show. You give the show a little credit. They show that she wasn't prepared to deal with the emotions of battle that normal humans have already come to grips with. Because she has a breakdown during the battle, and the Covenant pulverize her. And then John has to break mission to save her, and then at one point, he loses his control. We're going to talk about John. Don't worry, we're going to get there. But this whole section here, her subplot, we're calling that the C plot. It's a mixture of CB, because, Miranda and her plots are sort of the same, except different patheticness from different pathetic angles. But why are we doing this? I'm going to ask this question that I've asked before. What does any of this have to do with Halo? Nothing. These are contrivances. These are fabricated stories that they're putting in here to basically make other people look bad. This is all about the narrative that the Spartan program is evil, that denying people to be people is evil, that Halsey Girl Boss is evil, excuse me. It's just more fodder for that lame-ass storyline. And then how Kai needs to be allowed to grow. And how eventually it's going to grow to her loving another woman, I think. And how that's going to be great. And so representation and diverse. And that's where it all looks like it's going. It has nothing to do with Halo. It has nothing to do with the battle. Because, I give them credit, they show that she wasn't prepared. But then again, they only do that to cast a negative light on Halsey and the Spartan program. It's not done to criticize the fact that she was wrong, in my opinion. It was done to criticize Halsey and the Spartan program, which we're supposed to kind of want to root for. We're supposed to root for Spartan program. This show doesn't know what it's doing. It cares more about these stupid little messages of oppression or destruction of the human soul and the body and the mind, rather than actually giving us just a Halo TV show where we can enjoy watching Spartans kill Covenant. That's all this plot was. Talking and feeling and talking and questioning and feeling and walking and talking and being a bitch and then getting her comeuppance, but she's only getting her comeuppance to represent other people who need to get their comeuppance. All right, on to Miranda and her inability to emote more than 2 expressions.
What has she got on you?
Doctor, cease all work on the project effective immediately. That is an order.
Miranda is very easy to sum up. Miranda's plot. I've got mommy issues. Maybe I've got daddy issues. I'm the good little soulful saint of this series who hasn't done anything wrong. I'm the moral voice. I just want to do things for the right reasons. That's Miranda. Miranda with, and no offense to this actress, but she has 2 expressions. Either somewhat happy, or I'm confused and scared. That's her range, and it's very sad to watch. Miranda's plot in a nutshell. She's now arrived at the site that Halsey has built to surround the artifact. She's been given her own team, and her father's very proud of her, and it's a chance to show her mother that this is a good chance to respect me. Miranda tries to make the effort, but Halsey ignores her because Halsey's a bad mom, and like I said, she's got mommy issues. And then Miranda, like I said in the previous section, gets a good pep talk from Kai, and they look lovingly at each other, and we move on. And it's all about Miranda trying to figure out her own way to get her power in the spotlight. But meanwhile, other things are going on because you've got Admiral Girlboss is not happy with everything going on because just to give a little cheat to John's section, John's memories are interfering, and she doesn't like it. And it's time to bring a stop to it all. And Captain Keyes wants to make sure Miranda's hands remain clean because she's the soulful saint pure one of this show. So now he says she's going to be kicked off, and it's this and that. And you saw in the clip, Miranda's going to accuse him of, what does Halsey have on you? But no, he's just trying to be a good dad, but he's not being a bad dad because he's not caring about her feelings. And then it's all nothing from Miranda rest time. She's an afterthought in the battle, even though during the battle she falls down and Halsey goes to rescue her and get her out of the line of fire, and she's scrambling around. And that's kind of it. There's Miranda's story, guys. Miranda's got mommy and daddy issues. Miranda is the soulful saint. And there again. What does this have to do with? I never met her character when I played Halo. I never got that far. But from what I hear, she's a better character than this. I hear she's a better character than what they've portrayed. There's more to her than just looking scared at the world and having mommy and daddy issues. Now, I also do remember my research that she does have issues with her mother, but it's not the way they've portrayed it here, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. There you go. There's Miranda. Isn't that scintillating, guys? That's Halo. That's fun Halo adventure stuff, huh? More feelings and family issues. Why? All I want is the actual Master Chief kicking ass. I don't want any of this. Nothing. All right. Let's get to the real crimes in this episode. Everything surrounding John.
Cortana,
Yes, Chief?
I need you to do me a favor.
Anything.
Stop talking. Can't hear myself think.
Well, I can, and you're not missing much.
The subtitle of this series should be Halo: The Crimes Against the Master Chief, because this entire show is one continuing dismantling of the aura of magnificence of the Master Chief, John 117. They do everything possible to remove his presence, his strength, his character, Everything is just stripped away one episode at a time. And this episode continues the trend of just can't keep that helmet on. At least he keeps his armor on the entire episode now, but just can't keep that helmet on. And sometimes we got to get stupid Iron Man look in his helmet. See what he's going on inside helmets. They don't respect the Master Chief. Now I'm going to go through his plot in this, and then I really want to drill down on the destruction of him and his relationships and everything. It's terrible. So the whole point of this episode concerning John is that he's getting his memories back. The whole thing starts with a flashback that revealed that Girl Boss Halsey and Captain Keyes were on the planet when it was still the colony, and then they kidnap him, and he's starting to remember that they kidnapped him. And that's a problem. And they're lying to his face constantly, and he doesn't like it. He feels troubled by it, all the way to the point where he eventually goes and touches the artifact to trigger his memories in full, which leads him to rage out and try to kill Halsey. In between all that, I told you before, he has the talk with Kai about her pill being taken out and how she's not fit for duty. But why, if he fit for duty, he hasn't been tested yet. Not to mention, throughout this whole thing, his interactions with Cortana, which is something I'm really going to drill down on in a moment, are just, it's terrible. It's complete destruction of their relationship. Annihilation. A rendering. Decimation. I could go on. You get my drift. Everything happens after he touches the artifact, the second giant keystone, because what happens then? And then we learn that, girl boss, Covenant girl boss, senses the change. And so then she sends the Covenant attack force to where the second keystone is, and that ends up in our final battle of the episode. I'm going to comment on that real quickly before we drill down on this complete obliteration of the Master Chief's character. This final battle, it has been now 5 episodes. Count that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 since we had the Master Chief doing anything remotely action related. Oh, he gets to have action this time, and he gets to be Master Chief-esque, but this battle is horrible. The choreography is terrible. The camera work is atrocious. It's all over the place. You can't really tell what's going on. The CGI Covenant continue to be abysmal to the eye. It looks so fake. And we finally get a full Covenant attack force. We get grunts, get elites, get everything, including some giant hammer dude who I don't know who he is. I didn't go far enough in the game, if he's a real Covenant force or not, that basically knocks the Master Chief on his ass to steal the keystone at the end of the battle. But the whole thing, it's terrible. Now, the shills and the stands are going, oh, look at that. You haters, look, you got your Master Chief fighting. This was great. It felt like you're in Halo 2. This didn't feel like Halo anything. It's jumping around, getting bad points of view, bad CGI deaths, bad everything. It's not fun. You're not involved. And then throughout, in the middle of the mission, when Master Chief's mission was to get the keystone to the ship so it can get off planet before the Covenant get it, he breaks mission because now his emotions are out of control. He has to save Kai because, as I said in earlier parts of the video, she's getting pulverized by Covenant. So he breaks mission, loses the keystone, all to save her. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't have a problem with the storyline of going to save your team in. I believe in teamwork and camaraderie and that kind of stuff. But the way they've laid it out, it's, he loses control, and that's bad. And we can now blame more Halsey Girl Boss, Spartan program shit. It all comes around to that. And then, of course, the keystone is taken at the end of the battle, and Covenant Girl Boss decides to enact a plan. We don't know what, I guess, to infiltrate and discover who the other blessed one is by then having the Covenant drop her there and make it look like she's an escaped prisoner. And that's episode. But what I really want to talk about here is this destruction of the Master Chief. Gone is the intimidation factor. From the moment he has his helmet on, I'm not feeling it. I'm not impressed. There's no awe of the Master Chief being this ultimate badass, because I know that, and we get cuts to it inside the helmet, it's just Pablo Schreiber looking all goofy. Nothing there. When he issues orders, what does it matter? Because they've now built around this, they've destroyed his mystique of authority, that he's unstable. So him giving orders, him doing badass things, it's more connected to him being unstable than him being the man in control of the battle. A god on a battlefield that dominates everything in his purview. Everything he surveys, he's in control. He always has a plan, and he goes to the limit to get the job done. Yeah, he kicks a lot of ass today in this episode, but it's kind of meaningless. You're not impressed. And he doesn't really do all that much cool shit, if you ask me. Shoots some Covenant. Steers a Covenant ship into another Covenant ship so he can save Kai. It kind of just goes over your head. But the real horrible crime here is both his loss of, what's a good word, demeanor, his loss of centering, his loss of the evaporation of the control of the Master Chief, and his continuing so-called relationship with Cortana in this show, because they continue to sort of, they took a break for an episode, but now they go back to destroying the Master Chief Cortana relationship, because the John Cortana relationship in this is horrible. But first, as I said, they remove his calm, because when he, as I mentioned, when he gets his memories back, he loses control and tries to kill Halsey, or at least beat the ever-loving shit out of her. And in that moment, when he loses control, it's like, wow, okay, how are we supposed to trust him as our hero when he's going to go snap? And even though she's been lying to him, that's enough. And even though she kidnapped him, possibly killed his parents with a plague, who knows, that may still happen. How are we supposed to have confidence in him as a hero if he's going to rage out and try and beat a defenseless woman? That's why they do this. They do this to strip him of what makes him the hero, so that somebody else can take his place later on. And then that leads right into the fact that as he does it, Halsey uses Cortana to shut him down. And he falls to the ground like a lump, because Cortana is not there to be his partner. She's there to be his gatekeeper, his leash master, the puppeteer, the one that can shut him down at the single order from Halsey. Cortana doesn't have a personality. She doesn't make decisions on her own. She does everything Halsey says. And as you saw in the intro clip to this segment, she has zero respect for John 117. Oh, there's not much going on in your brain, your thoughts. Lines like that. Disrespect. John has no respect for her. Tells her to shut up. They haven't gelled. Whereas in an actual Halo story, it was an instantaneous connection built upon the fact of survival, but still an instantaneous connection where in a short period of time, they knew that they would be there with each other to the bitter end if it had to. That's the Master Chief Cortana relationship. We're here for each other. We support each other. Not, I'm your control collar, to borrow a Farscape term. I'm the one that's going to shut you down when Halsey tells me to. Cortana, shut up. Get out of my brain. I want some peace and quiet. Disrespect, destruction of the characters, obliteration. There's no fun in this. There's no joy. That is what is missing from the show. There's no joy in any of these characters. So how am I supposed to enjoy this? How are you supposed to call this a Halo show when you have stripped it of everything Halo related?
Shutting down neural bridge.
I just said, where's the joy? Where's the fun? Where's the connection? Where's the feeling of remotely any emotion connecting us to these characters? It's gone. Doesn't exist. During the fight sequence in that battle, Master Chief at one point, after he saves Kai, pummels a Covenant elite until he's a bloody pulp on the ground, and there's blood dripping from his fist. That same power was about to attack Halsey, who has been portrayed as a complete monster in this show, but still a defenseless woman. There's no joy for Halo in this show. There's no respect for Halo in this show. These people don't even want us to enjoy the fact that we love the games. Because at one point, at the beginning of the battle, or during the battle, when Master Chief is switching weapons, Cortana goes, now switch to your secondary weapon. And John goes, I've played this game before. Ha ha ha! No, you people have admittedly never played these games before. And you mock us for having played these games and loving these games. This entire demonstration shows how little respect you have for the game, its lore, its characters, and the fans who are devoted to it. You had a simple job. Put a gun in the Master Chief's hand, put him on the Halo, have him plow through hundreds of Covenant, eventually the Flood, and then escape with Cortana in his ear, giving him guidance, being his partner, his sole connection to the rest of the world in a situation of dire madness and possible doom. No, instead we get this show filled with feelings and talking about feelings and wondering and bad moms and bad dads and people who steal children. Yes, they stole children in reality, but the way they're portraying it here, they're turning John into an unstable killing machine when he learns the truth. All to point about how bad it is and how bad Halsey is and how good and soulful Miranda will be. There is nothing redeeming in this show because they hate you. They hate me. They hate Halo. They wouldn't have created their silver timeline if they loved Halo. They just would have told the story of the game, which is all anybody has asked for 20 years. This show is only going to get worse. Next episode is going to be nothing but talking about the fallout from the events of this episode. And Quan bullying Soren to go find monks and make her the freedom fighter, savior, Jesus of everything. There's going to be no action next episode. None. I doubt there'll be any action for another 2 or 3 episodes. More talking, more feelings, more why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Why don't you love me? And let's love each other because we're special that way. All right, that's the way this is going. This show is an utter abomination. But I will continue forward because somebody has to. All right, we're done here. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, a like would be appreciated. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Join the fun. I want to hear from you guys. Even if you disagree with me, that's just fine because normal people can have different opinions. We ain't stands. We ain't SJWs here who are all cowards behind keyboards. All right, I'll see you guys next week with the episode 6 review. Take it easy. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you want to get in touch with me, you can reach out to me at therennerd@gmail.com. That email's for channel business only, so I check it on a daily basis. Also, you can find me at the Geeks and Gamers forums under @ROAS, and you can find me at Rumble and Odyssey, The Renaissance Nerd. Thank you again. See you next time.